Welcome to the Viking Age podcast, the official podcast of thevikingage.com. My name is Chris Schad. I am a writer for the Viking Age Zone Coverage, Bring Me the News, and the Brookings Register. My co-host is Adam Patrick, who is the managing editor of the Viking Age, and we do this every Monday with a late week episode right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. We're also in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. So however you consume us, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode and we can spread the word to the masses. We got 1,100 subscribers entering the season. I don't know. We're probably not going to get to 1,200, but maybe like 1,150 before the season. We can try and push for that. I don't know. Maybe we can get to 1,200. I don't know. Tell your friends. Check out the podcast. It really does not matter. So Adam, good to be back.
Yeah.
First of all, I want to point out that I am very glad that you are not some AI generated character that I've been screaming at the past year, because I met you in person when I went to San Diego. I mean, in hindsight, I probably should have grabbed a photo, especially since we had someone there to take a photo. Shout out to our friend April who was there, but I didn't think of that. So it's hard to take a photo when you have a beer in each hand. Let's just.
We were there for baseball.
Yes. And baseball usually is better with a beer.
And when the Padres win.
Yes. Yeah. About that. I'm just very lucky I don't have a Twins podcast, because I don't think I would have been able to hold my composure after the last. They did win the nightcap, or the final game of the series. So that's good. Yep. But the first two games, it was not great. Let's start off here, because it took me a minute to kind of get my bearings. I mean, I'm in South Dakota. I don't really know what's wrong. Person on the plane next to me from from Denver to Sioux Falls was hammered.
Nice.
And I had to spend an extra hour on the runway because they had to do something to the plane. So, you know, it's a bad sign when you've been on vacation and on your final flight, the stewardess goes, welcome to so-and-so airlines. This is flight, whatever, service to, where are we going again? Because that happened. And I'm like, Sioux Falls? And they got us to the right direction, but it was, I think everybody just had a long day on that plane and was ready to get home, because there are no flights out of Sioux Falls after 9:15 p.m. So that is a thing. So, I mean, to be honest, there are a lot of things that bothered me while I was on vacation. And the first is hypothetical quarterback trades for engagement. And that's where we're going to start today, because that's where the most anger is kind of boiling over right now. Can we stop hypothesizing quarterback trades to the Vikings? Because Mike Tenenbaum of ESPN, a former Dolphins and Jets executive, suggested that the Vikings should trade for Russell Wilson. Now, Russell Wilson is having a hard time beating out Justin Fields for the starting quarterback job with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is honestly impressive, because Justin Fields is basically a souped up running back. Tannenbaum saw JJ McCarthy goes down, and hey, Vikings need a quarterback. You know, this is not the first time this has happened, because when JJ McCarthy went down, some people were like, hey, trade for Mac Jones, go sign Ryan Tannehill, go get a quarterback. You need a quarterback. And I don't know. Why do you think people keep making shit like this up? Because it's all over the place.
Well, it's the third week of the preseason, and there's, not much to talk about. Guys aren't really playing; they're resting up for the season. I don't know why people. It doesn't take a lot to just do a simple Google search and look up the fact that the Vikings have been basically all in on Sam Darnold pretty much ever since he got there. He's been the guy that they've said is going to start week 1 since, I don't know, before the NFL draft. So the fact that people are still like, oh, well, they should trade for Russell Wilson, 2 weeks before the start of the season, he can just hop in immediately and just learn Kevin O'Connell's complex offense, because he'll be a better option than Sam Darnold. First off, that's a terrible idea. Second off, 2 weeks before the season, you're going to trade for a guy you want to start. Like that's Sam Bradford stuff from 2016, and that didn't work out either. And I would say that Sam Bradford at that point in his career is better than Russell Wilson. But at this point, you have someone who's been with the team for multiple months, been learning the offense, been developing, some connections on the field with Justin Jefferson and other receivers and Sam Darnold. So bringing in someone like Russell Wilson, who is one of the most polarizing quarterbacks in the NFL, you also have to take account for that, because wherever he goes, he's going to get attention. That's just where it goes, whether he asks for it or not. It's just it was really random, and it was funny to watch. If you watch the clip of Tannenbaum saying it and see all the reactions of the people at the table after he said it, and they're just giant eyebrows raised and everything, like, did you just say that? Because it's just a crazy idea especially for a team like the Vikings that doesn't even really have that much to give up in a trade, especially to trade a quarterback who's 35 and coming off of a year where the Broncos are literally paying almost $40 million to not have him on their roster. So this was just a random idea, and I feel like Tannenbaum does this a lot. This is just his thing, to come up with weird trade ideas that no one else thinks of, and there's a reason for that, because usually they're not very good. And there's a reason why he's a former NFL GM and not a current NFL GM. But who knows? He could just be fooling us all, because here we are on Friday talking about something that he said on Tuesday or Wednesday. So if this is what he was going for, then it worked, and bravo to him.
There is a Vikings avenue. I don't really know what to call it, like a media group or whatever. I don't know what Score North is, but they've coined the term reckless speculation, right?
Yes.
This is basically what it is. And I will say Get Up is better at getting those points across than, say, First Take. Like after that first night in San Diego, like I was like, I'll flip on some TV, because I couldn't figure out how to get like Raw to play on my laptop. So I was like, all right, I'll flip on First Take. And like within like 30 seconds of Stephen A. Smith screaming, I'm like, I can't do this. How do people it's high volume. I'm tired. I had like 4 or 5 beers at the Padres game. And by the way, beers at a Padres game are like the size of my arm, which isn't as big as, some people's arms, but I mean, it's still very large.
They're not little beers.
Right? No, they are not. Plus, people wonder, hey, why are there so many fights at Petco Park? Well, it's because like they have this big craft beer aisle where you could go down and you can get an 8% beer. Yeah. And, next thing you know, you're bobbing and weaving like prime Muhammad Ali and getting your ass kicked in section 303. That was not me. That I just want to point that out. I did not get into a fight.
No, the other guy, he got bloodied up pretty good. So I think we would notice if it was you.
The kids at Petco Park too. Very it is a hostile. Like I love the vibe, as the kids call it, because it was full. The Padres are good. Team fans are really into the game. But like this kid behind us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so Zebby Matthews was starting for the Twins. He gave up a bases clearing double. And I'm like, okay, whatever. It's just like a trade, right? Whatever. And I mean, I'm laughing. And the kid behind us, how many F-bombs did he drop? He dropped at least 5, just rapid fire on me. Just like, F yeah, F you, F. And I turned around, like we have this saying in my family, my dad is very mild mannered. And we call like the look, the below the line behavior look, because it was just slowly like turning away, like, hey. And like, I saw the dad like try and come over and do damage control. Like, you watch your mouth. It's like, where did he learn it? I wonder, So then there was that other kid who was like dressed up like a dinosaur and trying to get on the Jumbotron. And she did, to her credit. But that's how much I care about Russell Wilson to the Vikings, because I would rather talk about children at Petco Park than this rumor. Like it's just
not a rumor. It's not a rumor.
I think it's not even a rumor. It's just like, hey, we have nothing to talk about. LeBron's not playing. It's preseason football. Yeah, it's like, let's just throw some shit out there and see if it sticks. And to Tannenbaum's credit, it stuck very well because we're, again, talking about this. Like, I'll just talk about like the whole Vikings need a QB thing regardless. This is fantasy football culture. This is people who just look from afar, and they had JJ McCarthy penciled in as their big sleeper quarterback. They were going to draft him in the late rounds. He was going to overtake Sam Darnold, and he was going to win the starting job. But like you mentioned, the Vikings have been balls to the walls with Sam Darnold since they signed him. We've heard they drafted McCarthy and they're like, hey, we're going to take it slow with him. Like, it's a middle school romance in Pleasantville, and we're not going to play him until he's ready. And we're going to stick with Sam Darnold no matter what. JJ McCarthy goes down. Everybody was like, oh my God, he was going to overtake Sam Darnold because Sam Darnold sucks. And now we're getting all of these dumb rumors or speculation or whatever you want to call it, that the Vikings are looking at quarterbacks and they're trying to bring, oh my God, they brought in Matt Corral. And that's a name we remember, even though he's never played in an NFL game.
He looked really
before.
good in the preseason game.
Yeah. He was running for his life behind the offensive line. I did see that. See, I didn't even watch the Cleveland game because also my sister got married.
The Lewis Scene game.
Yeah, the Lewis Scene breakout game. We'll get to that in a bit. But, I mean, it's just kind of like Sam Darnold's not perfect.
Right.
But, like, I think the Vikings' biggest question is, can you be a better version of Nick Mullins? Because it doesn't sound great, but, I mean, the Vikings won 7 games.
Very low bar.
The Vikings won 7 games, though, with Kirk Cousins, who won 4 of them. Yep. And then you had Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins, and Jaron Hall, who finished out the year. Like, Sam Darnold could be better than Nick Mullins. I think so. And I mean, again, low bar, very low. If you're not better than Nick Mullins, you deserve to hold a clipboard or worse for the rest of your life. Like, this is your last chance to prove you can be a decent NFL quarterback. But I mean, it's just like Nick Mullins threw for 400 yards in this offense. Granted, he threw like 5 interceptions per 400 yards, but I mean, that's Nick Mullins. Like, can you rein Sam Darnold in? And I know I hate this term, but game manager, right? Elevate him a little bit more, use your supporting cast. And I think what people may be ignoring is like, this team's not all about offense. This is a defensive team. Like, Brian, this season's, if the Vikings are good, this season is going to be the Brian Flores show. It's going to be about that defense. It's going to be I mean, I hope you like the Raiders Vikings games last year, because that's going to be the way the Vikings have to win games. Maybe not 3-0, but I'm talking like 20-10, like stuff like that. Like, it's going to be a dick dragger on offense. and even if you bring up Russell Wilson or, Ryan Tannehill or whatever to be the backup, like, it's just it's a superficial move. I just roll with Sam Darnold. If you suck, you suck. And then you kind of go forward from there. So I don't know. I mean, that's a long-winded rant, but
the Vikings are not, Sam Darnold's not out there to get developed by the Vikings this year. He's out there to run the offense the way Kevin O'Connell wants to run the offense and not turn the ball over. They don't really care if he has 4 touchdowns a game or throws 2 picks. As long as he's doing what he needs to do to help the Vikings win, that's all they care about. They're not looking ahead to be like, oh, we got to get Sam Darnold, we got to get him ready for 2025 so he can be our starter. No, that's not the case. And I also wanted to bring up, I think we talked about it on Monday, actually, in person, about, people suggesting the Vikings made a mistake by letting Josh Dobbs go because he, did some things in a preseason game for the Niners last weekend. And it's like, did you guys forget that he got benched in that Raiders game? Because it was 0-0 at half and they couldn't do anything. And he had 5 turnovers in the Bears game the week before. Like, let's make some smart recommendations instead of just like doing what Tannenbaum and other people have done, just throwing people, on a wall and saying, "Oh, this guy's a notable name. He should be on the Vikings." When it's like they're not even looking for a quarterback. Like, if Nick Mullins gets hurt, fine, talk about this stuff. That's fine. But Sam Darnold's healthy. He's not going to play on tomorrow, Saturday, in the preseason game because he's going to be their starter. I don't even think Nick Mullins is going to play. I think Jaron Hall's starting.
Yeah.
So, like, all this just like the Vikings need a quarterback. It's like they have a quarterback. He's on injured reserve, and he'll be ready next year to play. That's it. That's all they need to worry about. So
just play some more Creed. That'll work. Like, we'll
apparently
always have
not. Kirk Cousins that's not on his playlist, but apparently that's also not the one that it wasn't made by him either.
Yeah. The social media. Yeah, just throw some stuff together.
It's like
I mean, there's no fucking way he listens to half that stuff. Like, Kirk Cousins jamming to
182. I know he does. He likes some of their songs because there's videos of him like singing it before and stuff.
Plus, there was you mentioned Blink 182. It also reminds me of the Twins broadcast. Saying they saw Tom DeLonge, that's his name.
He was a couple rows up, but
couple rows up. Kind of missed him, but good effort.
Yeah,
good try.
Yeah,
it's probably some like 21-year-old in the truck, just like, I don't even know this man. Like,
for sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Which is bad because if you're in San Diego, you need to know who Tom DeLonge is because he's like royalty.
Exactly. So, well, that was great. Yeah, I mean, it's just people are weird right now. Like, we just need the season to start.
Right now?
Like, well, and they'll be weird as the season goes along. Yeah. But I mean, again, like, this is going to require patience. This is going to require, I mean, if the Vikings go 5-12, I mean, even like from the front office, like I'm hearing stuff about, maybe they should extend Kevin O'Connell and Kwesi right now. I think that's a great idea. You don't want to mess with things. Because, like, Sam Darnold's not your future. Like, 2024 is not make or break for the Minnesota Vikings.
No.
It's 2025. And I think even people are sitting there like 2025 is the Super Bowl window. I think it's 2026. Like, I don't think 2025 is the window that this team is going to pop. They can make the playoffs in 2025, especially if JJ McCarthy's ready to go. But, I mean, he's going to have to learn how to play on the field. He's going to have to learn how to do all that stuff.
Be a rookie.
And I mean, you're not going to fill every hole in free agency because usually if a player is good, a team will keep that player.
Yeah.
Just saying.
You got to pay, Jordan Addison all of his legal bills. So.
Ouch.
Oops, too soon.
Way too soon. Let's move on. We'll get back to the Vikings in a minute because Brian Flores and Tua Tagovailoa have some beef. Now, you talked about this with Jason Harmon on Tuesday. So if you want the full conversation, you can go check that out. If you want the clips or have been living under a rock, basically Tua went on with Dan Lebitard and said Brian Flores is a bad person. And Brian Flores went up, flanked by Harrison Phillips and Josh Metellus, and said, no, I'm not, but I've changed. So here we are. It's 2024. We love a good internet beef in 2024, right? Drake and Kendrick Lamar going at each other online and people freaking out, one of the best feuds in wrestling right now is Drew McIntyre and CM Punk, who have been bickering at each other on the internet since January. Like, it's great. Tua and Flores, big internet beef. And like, here's my take.
Didn't know it was still going on until this week.
Yeah. Apparently Tua cries himself to sleep because Brian Flores was a bad person to him. Some players are going to love their coach and some players aren't. Like Kirk Cousins and Mike Zimmer did not get along in Minnesota, but Linval Joseph and Eric Kendricks are playing for the Cowboys. Eric Kendricks called him a culture of fear. And then he's like, well, I need a job. Hey, Mike, what are you doing? Okay, I'll come on down there. Like,
he's like, I like fear, actually.
Yeah, fear is a good thing. I like that fear. I'm missing that in my life. I miss the grind, as they say. Tua Tagovailoa got along with Nick Saban, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Like, how, if you think everybody got along with Nick Saban, go check the transfer portal over the last couple of years, because a lot of people got the hell out of there because they didn't like playing under Nick Saban. That's fine. But like, it's just turned weird. Like people, I know when Mike Zimmer got fired, a lot of people sat there and they said, hey, like, what? We're excited for Zimmer to tell everything. He hasn't said a word. You know why? Because it doesn't help him.
Doesn't care.
Yeah. Kirk Cousins Kirk Cousins could go out and be like, I freaking hate Mike Zimmer. Well, I mean, that doesn't help him either. Like, it's just kind of water on the bridge. It didn't work. Everybody knows they didn't like each other, but I mean, it doesn't feel like this is a public thing. And I mean, I saw someone, I don't know his name. He was an ex-Survivor contestant. David Sampson. Yeah.
He's on the Le Batard show too.
Which I don't know why we're giving ex-Survivor contestants like sports
He's also
shows now.
The former president of the Miami Marlins. So
okay, so that's why.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was like another version of the Hawk Tua girl or something.
I put that in the article just to be a jackass that he was the first person voted off on Survivor in his season.
Hey, at least I mean I would not last. That's a different conversation.
That's a tough show.
I mean, bugs. The first bug I'd see, I'd be like, "Get me out of here! I quit. We're done." What the hell is that? But I mean, it's just like I don't see what we're trying to accomplish here. That's all I'm saying. Right. I'm just saying, like, and you know what? Like Le Batard and Stugotz and I probably just butchered his name. What's that?
Stugotz.
I don't give a shit. It doesn't matter what his name. I don't listen to like other people's talk radio.
I know.
Okay. Like it's just like they're Miami homers. What else are they supposed to do? They're gonna rip their own coach. It's like if anybody asks us about Mike Zimmer, like, yeah, he was an asshole in the second half. Like the first half, he was great when he led him the NFC Championship game. Then he didn't win, and he was an asshole. Like you're gonna side with your guy. You're gonna side with the guy that they just paid how many millions of dollars? Because so I mean,
which is probably why Tua felt like he could say stuff like this still. Like he could bring it up because he's not worried about not missing out on a contract or causing controversy and not being able to get that contract because now he's got that money. He's got the financial security, even if he gets hurt, where he can, feel a little more confident when saying this stuff and not have to worry about any repercussions or anything like that because he's the guy in Miami, whether people like it or not, whether the Dolphins like it or not. It was just weird. I wasn't surprised that it was brought up because Le Batard likes to, kind of dive deep into some of those things, especially if he hasn't talked to somebody in a while. And it's not like Tua went out of his way to bring this up. It was asked to him, but at the same time, he didn't brush it aside. He was like, "Oh yeah, Flores, he sucks. Terrible person. Mike McDaniel is amazing, even though they've had almost the same record." During their 2 years, like
Mike McDaniel is a vibe right now. By the way, I saw that photo.
Oh, he's fun. He's a good guy, but like to go out there and be like he's so much more successful than Brian Flores. Tua is more successful, but the team overall is pretty much the same when Brian Flores was there. So you take what you can get, and this is the age also we're in where quarterbacks are starting to really run the show and coaches are kind of just have to kind of go with whatever their quarterback wants. You look at someone like Deshaun Watson. Like if Stefanski had a choice, like does he still want Deshaun Watson as his quarterback? Probably not. And there's other guys too out there that just got paid. Like what Jordan Love. He did pretty good at the end of last year. Is he worthy of being the highest paid quarterback in the NFL? I don't think so. But that's just what the price you have to pay these days to get a decent quarterback. And then you got Caleb Williams too. Like Matt Eberflus has been there for this will be his third year, and now he's kind of got to just do everything to make Caleb Williams feel as comfortable as possible instead of like bringing this quarterback in and having him adjust to his team and how he wants things. Now Eberflus has to make sure everything that they do is for Williams so he can keep his job. So it's kind of done this, I don't know, somersault into quarterbacks just kind of taking over running the team as opposed to the coaches. Now there are some coaches obviously that still are able to run the team on their own, John Harbaugh, Andy Reid, all those guys, but some of the younger guys, more inexperienced, have to kind of just be like, okay, whatever we got to do to make the quarterback happy. And Brian Flores clearly wasn't like that, but I think in his 3 years since leaving the Dolphins, he's realized that, if I want to be a head coach again in the NFL, I have to make sure my relationship with the quarterback is much better than it was with Tua in Miami. And I think he's probably learned that from Mike Tomlin. He's definitely learned that from Kevin O'Connell. But I still don't know if it's going to lead to him ever getting a head coaching job ever again. Because every time he seems to be like turning the corner and people are like, oh, getting excited about him, Tua or somebody else is like, oh, yeah, remember what he did to Tua and like called him names and made him cry? And yeah, he shouldn't be a head coach. So,
like I said, I mean, if nobody wants to hire Brian Flores as a head coach,
you can pay him as much money as you want to keep him in Minnesota. Go for it. As long as he's doing well.
He seems to like it here. The players seem to like it. I mean, like, I don't know. Like Josh Metellus and Harrison Phillips standing next to him just felt like, Brian Flores leading the Judgment Day or something, right? Just like cutting a promo.
What you said, Samson, he accused Flores of, bringing those players up himself and the Vikings forcing him to go to the press conference and talking about this stuff. That was his regular schedule.
It was scheduled on Sunday. I get the emails.
Yeah,
I know.
I had the email too. This happened before Tua said anything.
Like
he does this every week. He speaks to the media every week. It wasn't like you get out there and you respond to Tua, because that's what the Wilfs do. They do all that. No, but like, yeah, Harrison Smith didn't retire because he enjoyed playing under Flores so much last year. He wanted to come back and do it again. Van Ginkel signed here because of Flores, and said the other day because he wouldn't be the player that he is currently without the help of Flores. There's plenty of other guys that they signed this offseason that, Stephon Gilmore mentioned when he signed the other day that he's excited to be back with, Flo and play with him again. So, like, there are people, believe it or not, just like there are people who like playing for Zimmer, there are people who like playing for Flores. It just wasn't Tua. And there's more than 50 players in a locker room. You can't expect every player to like how your head coach or defensive coordinator goes around and does things. But at the same time, too, Flores was in New England for, I don't know, over a decade. And he's looking at Belichick and the way that he does stuff, kind of, and being like, oh, well, they won Super Bowls, so this is clearly the right approach to do things. But then all the coaches like Flores and McDaniels and stuff, they go everywhere else and try to implement that, and they're forgetting one thing because they don't have Tom Brady. It's one small piece that they don't have, and then they realize, oh, this only works if you have Tom Brady. So yeah, so I believe Flores when he says like he's grown and everything. How can you not after what happened, and being around people like Mike Tomlin and Kevin O'Connell certainly helps. So yeah, if he stays in Minnesota, I'm not going to be sad, but I would love to see him be a head coach again because I think he is a good coach and he'll be much better. Like Bill Belichick was fired.
Yeah.
The Browns, and then his second stint was the Patriots, and he was almost fired from the Patriots too. So like second chance coaches like Andy Reid too, like Pete Carroll, a lot of the best coaches in NFL history became who they were during their second stint. So, whether Flores gets that or not is yet to be determined, but we'll see. He's in Minnesota now, and the Vikings are happy to have him.
Andy Reid walked out of the Philadelphia Eagles office and like there's a call, there's a voicemail.
Idiots.
Yeah, there's a voicemail from the Chiefs like, want to coach? Yeah, of course I do. Yeah. I'm gonna look like the big red Kool-Aid man, but it's gonna
to be fair, the Eagles and Chiefs have both won Super Bowls since he left, so it worked out for both franchises.
Yes, it has. Since we're talking about the Eagles, we might as well shift there because that is the Vikings preseason finale
huge
opponent.
Game.
The huge game.
38-7. Here we go.
We are going to do a position by position breakdown. How do you feel about Jaren Hall against the Philadelphia Eagles third string defense? Yeah. No, I'm kidding right now. Mo Ibrahim, Gopher legend, by the way, signed with the Vikings.
Yeah, he'll be cut on Tuesday.
Yeah, he'll I don't know.
Like how they're signing all these players, everyone's like, oh yes, finally they got him. I'm like, you guys realize they're just signing players because they're not going to play other guys on Saturday, so they need people to actually play, and then they're going to cut them on Tuesday. That's what happens every year.
We'll never forget. I mean, as a Gopher fan, that one game against Iowa where Fleck just decided to kick field goals the entire time. Hey, Gophers start next Thursday.
Minnesota had a memorable game against Iowa. I don't.
Well, Iowa also like not that game, not the fair catch game, but
it wasn't a fair catch.
The one at home
the non-fair catch game.
Yeah, it was not. Well, I mean, it's called the fair catch because like invalid signal was the ruling. Or something like that, and Iowa fans are like, "Dur, dur, dur."
Because that's their only chance at points.
Yes, and they were like, "I'd be mad too if our offense could score." Ferenz got suspended for.
I saw that.
Yeah,
he's so sad. He's going to miss their first game against like Pennsylvania Community College,
Eastern Bumfuck University or something. Like, yeah. Anyway, let's move on. I feel like most of the roster is set at this point, which again, preseason, they don't even paint the fucking end zones during preseason games. Like, it's just like nobody cares. Like, there's coordinators calling
the same
plays.
ticket prices though.
Yeah, I know. You're still gonna pay out the like season ticket holder. Like, can we get a discount here? Sunday ticket. I mean, a lot of people are rolling with that $700 Sunday ticket price, and it's like, well, actually, that's if you get it through Apple, which why would you do that? Why wouldn't you get it through Google? But it's just me. Most of the roster is set, but who are some players that you think the Vikings will get rid of after Saturday?
Who will they get rid of? Karen Hall's starting, but I don't think they're going to keep him on the active roster. I think they'll try and get him on the practice squad. Because I think they have that new rule this year, whatever, that the quarterback doesn't count on the practice squad. Like, you can activate him every week if you want. So I think they'll try and do that. Some guys that you don't have on your list that I'm trying to think of.
You can take a guy on my list. I don't care. I got 6 guys.
I mean, Dalton Reisner hasn't practiced in, I don't know, the last few weeks. And Ed Ingram, it sounds like a lot of people have said his job is not in jeopardy. Blake Brandel is in line to be the starting left guard. And Dalton Reisner hasn't practiced, so I could see them moving on from him so that they can give his spot to somebody else who's younger and can develop better. So he's one that might shock some people, but it's not really that shocking. Tight end, like N'Keal Harry, I'm curious about him, especially with the Hawkinson injury. I wonder if they keep Harry around until Hawkinson comes back. But Nick Muse has been playing well this preseason. There's Josh Oliver and Johnny Munt, obviously. On the defensive side, I'm curious about Caleb Evans because their cornerback depth isn't that great, but neither is he. So I'm curious to see if they go with him or Duke Shelley. I think they like Fabian Moreau because of his starting experience. And then the kicker and punter are all set. There's not, like you said, there's not a whole lot. Dwayne McBride, I don't think he makes his team. He hasn't really done much this summer. So, yeah, it's not a lot of excitement. I feel like we do already know a lot. All the position battles that were kind of significant have already been settled pretty much. So, we'll see. Maybe someone like Bo Richter, I think you wanted to mention him, where like he's played really well. And then I just saw, I think it might have been Darren Wolfson saying like Bo Richter's probably not going to make the active roster, which I was like, really? He's played pretty well, but who knows? Who knows what will happen on Tuesday? And there could be some guys that aren't even on the roster that the Vikings will go after because they seem to do that around cut day. Trying to add some guys. I think they did Nick Mullins thing a couple years ago. They did Jalen Reagor. So I think they'll probably do some of that. Keep an eye on the waiver wire on Tuesday as well as they usually do. So we'll see.
It's overreaction season. Like, anybody that hits it, like people, I got off the plane in Denver and people were freaking out over Najee Thomas. I looked at, Bo Nix, congratulations. Like Sean Payton duped all of us. He let the Vikings taking JJ McCarthy knowing he would tear his meniscus. He's like, I don't
And
want
Bo
him.
Nix, he beat out Zach Wilson and
Jared
Jared
Stidham.
Stidham. Wow. What a
On
battle.
fire.
What a battle.
But I mean, people are going to freak out no matter. Like, the Najee Thompson thing was funny to me because it's just like everybody's just sitting there like, not Najee Thompson. Oh my God. Like, what are you going to do on special teams? Find another gunner. Like, I know Dan Chisena didn't work out as the ultimate special teams weapon, but like Najee Thompson's good. He was still like the 7th best.
And he's still probably going to play for the Vikings this year.
Yeah. He got stashed on injured reserve, which is what they were doing the entire time. But everybody just freaked out in that moment. Hopefully you clicked on the article so I got paid. But I mean, like, it's just anybody who gets released now, people are doing it with Lewis Cine now. Like, that was the one name you didn't mention because I got, on Sunday where my head was hurting after my sister's wedding, I looked at, winners and losers, and number 1 was Lewis Cine because he had 11 tackles, a sack, and an interception. And I'm thinking, well, yeah, he played every defensive snap. I would hope he had some stats against like second and third stringers. Yeah. And I mean, to his credit, Cine's come in with the right attitude during camp. Like he wants to make an impression. He was talking about, he's like, hey, when I'm healthy, I'm dangerous and everything else. And like, he seems like a good dude. I want to see him succeed. And maybe somewhere, he does succeed. I just don't think it's going to be here. And I think that's what the Vikings are trying to do. They're trying to get, maybe a 6th or a 5th round pick. I think in the end, they probably get a conditional 6th or 7th for him. But I think, this whole thing where, oh, well, you can't get, it's the David Ortiz syndrome. Like, Minnesota sports fans are like, they don't want to see somebody go somewhere and become this all-pro safety. But look around Lewis Cine right now. Harrison Smith is back. I know he's only back for a year, but he's firmly entrenched ahead of him. Cam Bynum's probably going to get an extension in the next couple of weeks. You have Josh Metellus. He's not going anywhere. And they love Theo Jackson, even though people are freaking out over that one touchdown he allowed in a preseason game, which Brian Flores wasn't calling anything. No. He was telling everybody to drop back. Nobody gave a shit on defense. That's why the Raiders marched down the field with, what was it, Aiden O'Connell? Like,
either him or Gardner Minshew.
Yeah, it just
starter.
Like, it doesn't matter. So, like, all the best to Lewis Cine, and if he blows up, great. Like, he seems like a great kid, but it's not going to happen in Minnesota, not in this defense. I just don't think he's the type of guy that Flores wants. And I think they're going to showcase him again on Saturday and be like, all right, who wants Lewis Cine? Former 1st round pick, step on up. So if they get a 6th or a 5th round, or if they get a 5th round pick, that's a huge win at this point. But it's just not, I just don't think it's not going to happen here. So,
yeah. I would like him to make the team. I think he's showing more. He's showing more. Yeah, they kept 6 last year.
Like, Brian Flores is more creative than a stoner in a Taco Bell kitchen, but
they kept 6 safeties last year. So that's why I'm thinking they might. And with Najee Thompson hurt because he converted to safety. Maybe they put Cine out there and be the gunner until Thompson gets back.
Okay, so but here's the other thing. Then why didn't Lewis Cine play at all in the second half? He was healthy in the second half.
Last week or last year?
No, I'm saying last year.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, he's
even so. I'll point this out too. But even in the 7 games he played 7 defensive snaps or something like. Yeah. It was in the teens, maybe. Maybe I'm getting it mixed up.
It was a new defense. I'll give him that.
Sure. But
the second defense he's had to learn in 2 years. And there's been reports of him, not being that quick of a learner, even at Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
So that could have been it. I just think, I think if they can get a draft pick for him and that's what they want to do, then fine. But I think he's showing more potential recently of flashes that the Vikings saw in him when they drafted him. That doesn't mean he's going to turn out to what he's going to be. But I think in football, guys get hurt a lot. And, Harrison Smith's probably going to get hurt this year at some point. Bynum Metellus is already dealing with something minor. So, like, Cine's not terrible. He just hasn't been able to get on the field. for us to even tell if he's been terrible. So I would like to see him on the team. If he's not, or if the Vikings want to trade him, that's fine. But I think just give him one more year. If he doesn't work out, then fine. Move on from him.
The other guys I have on my list as far as players, you mentioned Dalton Reisner. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if it's like something happened because there's that report that he was going to play right guard, and he's like, I don't know, bro.
Yeah,
I'm a
do you
left
think
guard.
he's milking something so he can
I
be
don't know.
healthy for when he gets waived, and then he can be like, oh, I'm good. I can be a starter. Left guard? You need a starting left guard? I'll play left guard. Not right guard, but I'll play left guard.
Something smells weird. It seems like he puts on a great public face. Just something seems weird there.
His whole career has been weird.
Yeah.
Like it just like his tenure with the Vikings about how it's like, yeah, I'm here and I'm great. I love everything. And it's like, okay, so they're going to resign him. And then, nope, not going to resign him. It's like, okay.
Yeah. Just odd vibes.
He's
Loves good food though. I will give him that. Bo Richter, I don't think he's going to make the team.
I think he should.
I know he's like.
I forgot to send you a clip of someone saying he's the next
JJ Watt. I saw that.
Thank you. I'm glad you saw it.
White guy, defensive end, sacking the quarterback.
He has an arm
Watt.
brace. He has the arm brace too, so he looks just like him.
Oh, good Lord. I mean, I think he's a good player.
Yeah.
I mean, he's more of a down lineman, right?
Like pass rushing specialist.
Yeah, so like he's one of those guys you could stick in a NASCAR package.
And they could probably get him on the practice squad.
I think so. I think he's a practice squad guy. I don't think and maybe somebody picks him up over those sacks.
That's the thing too. Like
that doesn't happen often. Like people are like freaking out about it. It's like
every team has those players where they're like,
yeah,
we hope that some team doesn't scoop them up so we can put them on the practice. Every team has those.
Right.
So like, it's not like there's like the Lions are sitting there like, who are the Vikings guys that we can pick up? No, they have their own guys.
Half our roster and get everybody's fringe players.
Yeah, no, they're not like. I'm pretty sure they can get Bo Richter, who was undrafted, onto the final or the practice squad. He's not like Ivan Pace. He was amazing last year, and there was a reason why he made the regular season roster, and now he's a starter. So it's very different players. But yeah, people are like, what if? It's like, no, he'll be okay. And even if somebody does take him, it's okay. He was going to be on the practice squad for a reason. It wasn't because he's a starter. So
yeah, I don't know. Like half these debates, I'm just kind of like, if they keep them, they keep them. If they don't,
we're talking about third or fourth string guys. Mm-hmm. It's like,
I mean, you could
okay.
If you need them, need them, you probably have a problem.
Is there someone who you think who would surprise you if they made it? Would it be Lewis Seen? Would he be the biggest surprise, or would that be Dalton Reisner?
I don't. Oh, between those two?
Those two or anybody else?
Biggest surprise if they made it.
Justin Jefferson?
Yeah, I don't know. I got him on the bubble. I wonder if we can sneak him through waivers and get him on the practice squad.
Is he calling plays this weekend? He wants to, I think.
I know they're miking up Kevin O'Connell for how is Harrison Smith in that?
He was kind of good, actually. You know what? He wasn't as milquetoast and boring as he was, because when he was talking was when Lewis Seen was going off and like delivering hits and stuff, and you could hear Harrison Smith being like, "Oh, Lou, wow, look at him go," blah blah blah. He wasn't terrible, no. He wasn't like what we thought, but there was also people talk. Did you see was it Levi Drake Rodriguez mic'd up?
Yep, I did.
Where he went up to Jefferson. He's like, "Who are you talking to?" He's great too. He's gonna make the team.
Yes, I think that'll be a guy that makes the team. I listed some players that I think will get kept. Not to kind of, I don't think there's any like real surprises. I think we've kind of just solidified ourselves. Like, a guy like Tristan Jackson, I think he makes the team. They're probably going to keep 6 receivers because they don't know what's going to go on with Addison, and Jalen Naylor has a bad health history. Yeah. So, I mean, I would keep Jackson. Plus, it sounds like he's friends with Jefferson. So, I mean, sometimes
he's
to do that.
He's popular in the locker room overall.
Right. Trent Sherfield, too, I think makes this team.
Yes, they like him because he can block.
Yes, and they don't really. I mean, he could play that. People kind of elevated KJ Osborne's role when he was with the Vikings, but I think he was used more as a blocker than like this pass catcher. So, I mean, Sherfield could kind of play that role. And
what about Aaron Jones? Is he gonna make it? He hasn't played all preseason. I haven't seen him.
They might just cut him. They might just say Ty Chandler season. Yes.
Yep.
Doesn't know which way he's running.
Mo Ibrahim. That's why they signed Mo Ibrahim, because they're getting rid of Aaron Jones.
Exactly. I have Gabriel Murphy making the team, but I think it'll be an IR spot.
Yeah, he hasn't practiced in a while.
It's kind of like a twins injury going on there. Like, we think he'll be back in a week. No, he's out 2 months.
He wasn't going to get many snaps if he played, or if he made the team anyways, probably.
Right. And then the last guy I have probably getting kept, Dwight McLeathern.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
I think he
ran. Did you see?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that.
Ran out of
interception returns.
Tackled by a quarterback.
Yeah, which whatever. I mean, he ran a long way, but got to work on the cardio. But I mean, you look at this cornerback room; it's pretty old, man. Like, you can't completely overturn your cornerback room in one offseason. So I wouldn't be surprised if he made the team. They keep him on the back end of the roster and kind of use him as a pet project.
To be fair, the Vikings cornerback room looks a lot different than it did after OTAs.
Right.
And that's not really their fault at all.
No.
Just a bunch of terrible things that happened. But
yes,
what they have now is definitely not what they were planning for.
And I think
months ago.
And I think in some ways, I was going to say maybe it's better, but I mean, like, you can't. Kyrie Jackson was going to be interesting, but you couldn't really say he's going to be our lockdown number one on the outside. And then you also have, and again, terrible thing that happened, but I don't want to I'm just talking from a football standpoint. Mekhi Blackman, we didn't really know, how he's going to step up in year 2. That was kind of a question mark, but a lot of people were excited about it. Though losing those 2 guys and then replacing him, you get a former All-Pro and Stephon Gilmore. I think that's a good move in terms of competing this year. And I also think, Shaq Griffin, if he ever gets healthy, he could be good on the outside. I mean, the defense is going to be fueled by the safeties, which again lends to good things about Lewisine, and the pass rush, where Dallas Turner looks good. Andrew Van Ginkel has looked really good coming back from that Liz Frank injury. Jonathan Grenard, we haven't seen him at all, but they are going to, like, that front 7 is going to be like chess pieces for Brian Flores.
Even Levi Drake.
Rodriguez. Sure. I mean, it
is
sounds
his last
like
name Rodriguez, or is it Drake Rodriguez, or is his first name Levi Drake?
He's just probably a guy that goes by 3 names.
3 names. Just say his 3 names every time you talk about him.
LDR.
Okay.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, they're going to mix guys. It's not going to be like your traditional defense where Jared Allen's lining up at right end every snap. Like, they're going to move guys around, and I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see, just what
Flores has a lot more tools to work with this year than he did a year ago, and he was still able to get that defense to go from like the bottom of the league to 15th. So,
yeah. Is there anything you're watching on Saturday, or
for the clock to hit 0 in the 4th quarter?
Kind of my thoughts. Like, I don't know. Like, I have to go cover a soccer doubleheader, and I'm kind of glad about it.
Maybe looking forward to listening to Kevin O'Connell, I guess.
That's probably the only thing.
Just hope nobody gets hurt. Usually that's my hope in the third. Well, I guess Will Reichert, if he gets any opportunities to do a kick or take some kicks, because he's the only kicker now.
Yeah, and he's been balling out. Do you acknowledge Will Reichert yet?
Yes, I do.
Acknowledge him.
Let's get to the real season now first before we get too crazy, even though he's just destroying the football.
I like your idea of giving him a purple Ulafala.
Yeah, purple and yellow.
It's a game winner against the Packers, puts it on, just like
they should just have the turnover Ulafala or whatever on the sideline. I don't know how well that would go over, but
if I was head coach at Hawaii, I would definitely pull that shit.
Levi Drake Rodriguez could probably wear it. I feel like he's got some.
He looks like he's in the bloodline.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, everybody's in the bloodline at this point. They
Pretty
keep
much.
talking. They're like, this is Rikishi's son. It's like, how many kids does he have? Like, Jesus. They're everywhere,
well, you saw
man.
that big family tree before WrestleMania. Yeah. That's just those are all just Rikishi's kids.
They didn't even show the whole thing. It's just, this is Rikishi's kids. Oh, geez. Yeah. So, I mean, that's it. I mean, Saturday's game. Enjoy it. I mean,
Saturday is looking forward to Sunday to watch AEW.
Yeah. Honestly, just quickly on Saturday, but I mean, I think I'd rather just watch week 0 college football.
Yeah. Was it in Ireland? Is it Florida State?
It's a game in Ireland. And then there's Florida State, Georgia Tech.
Yeah, that's the one. That's in Ireland.
Oh, that's the one. And I thought it was like, well, Northwestern and Notre Dame. I thought Notre Dame was going over there. So
that would make sense.
Yeah. But no, they just picked 2 random.
That's why I was confused. I thought the Bash at Berlin was this weekend for WWE for wrestling because McAfee was on a plane with Sheamus, but clearly he was just going to Ireland for the football
college game day.
Yeah.
Which get drunk with Sheamus on a plane to Ireland sounds like a rough time.
A death sentence, yeah.
Yeah. For your liver, yes.
Drinking Guinnesses.
You ready for Sunday? You ready for some all in? Are you going to order all in? I guess that's a question with that company.
No, I don't order any of those.
But you're gonna find it some other way.
Yeah.
Wink,
wink. It'll pop up somewhere.
Yeah.
But didn't Ricochet just get signed? So he'll probably make an appearance. Is there like a mystery? Isn't there like a opening in one of their like casino matches or something?
Yeah, they have a casino gauntlet match with. I know they want to get like shows like that. They try to get all the wrestlers in there so they can like get a chunk of the pie. But like at the same time,
it's like their Money in the Bank.
Hey, it would be nice if you could do this at on a Dynamite or something and make it watchable.
Well, that's what they did with Money in the Bank, right? They used to have it at WrestleMania, and now they have its own pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll be good. I'm curious. What I think Bryan Danielson and Swerve will be good. Ospreay and MJF will be good.
Just don't go an hour again. We don't need that.
No. I mean, they're gonna have 17 matches because that's what they do for AEW pay-per-views. But yeah, it'll be. That's the thing with AEW. Like during the week, I don't really care what they do during their regular shows, but pay-per-views are always good. They always put on good shows for pay-per-views. So I'll watch them.
So I'm just looking through this thing. Trios, Jack Perry, Darby Allin.
Oh yeah,
that could be good.
I saw a picture of it's like some guy standing on the Wembley, the top of Wembley Stadium, and somebody was like, "Darby Allin on Sunday."
Yes, jump off the little
coffin drop off the top through glass.
The gauntlet will be fun. Especially, if Ricochet gets involved, that would be an awesome pop, which is like half the fun of wrestling. Let's see. Tony Storm and Mariah May. Good build to that, but
I don't know how good of a match it'll be.
Yeah, I don't know if it'll be a good match either. MJF Ospreay will be fun. And then Strickland and Danielson. So
Mercedes.
Yes. Mercedes and Britt Baker, which I mean Mercedes is good in the ring. I mean, I guess now I'm thinking, I do think she's good. I think sometimes she just tries to do too much in the ring.
She's never been good on the mic though. I feel like,
and that's the issue.
And they're making her do it too much.
Right. Like
she should have like a Paul Heyman.
Yes.
But she kind of does now, but they don't speak. So
yes. I don't know. There's your wrestling talk for the day.
Yeah.
We'll get back after it for Bash at Berlin in 2 weeks, but there you go. What's going on at the Viking age right now?
Well, getting ready for Saturday's preseason finale. No, we'll be writing about whatever happens in the game. Hopefully, no one gets hurt. Hopefully, there's a lot of good moments. And then they'll probably start letting go of guys on Sunday and Monday, and then finish it up on Tuesday. We'll have a cut tracker up there to keep track of that on the VikingAge.com, and then will be almost September. I think 2 weeks from Sunday, the Vikings will be in New York going against the mighty Daniel Jones and the New York. If the Vikings lose to the Giants, let's just end on this. Then they can trade for Russell Wilson. I don't give a fuck what they do after that. Okay? You're gonna lose to Daniel Jones, who's throwing 2 interceptions in a bad interceptions too. And they weren't even tipped or anything in a preseason game. Then
I watched the off season. All right, I'm 4 episodes in.
Yeah,
I have one more to watch the off season.
No team is ever doing that again, though.
No team will ever do that again because there's so much out there now of the front office, the whole Daniel Jones stuff. It's we're paying $40 million for a quarterback contract that they gave Daniel Jones, by the way. But
Saquon Barkley stuff.
Paying $40 million. Also, what Mara is it? What's his first name? I can't.
John.
Is it John Mara?
I think so.
Because he was his reaction to I'm not gonna sleep at night if we lose Barkley to the Eagles.
A running back.
It felt like a scene out of Draft Day, the owner from.
Yes, and then you had Brian Dable talking to, I want to say it was Roman Dunze with he was laying down on the couch with his feet up, and it's you're a head coach in the NFL. What are you? And you're talking to this prospect. What are you doing?
Yeah, just he's showing he's a chill head coach. Yeah.
So no team will ever do that again.
No,
they'll just stick. They'll stick to their no
team wants to do Hard Knocks.
Heavily edited team website, behind the scenes content that the Vikings do every year. We're gonna give you all this behind the scenes, and it's just every draft phone call just spliced together.
Yeah. The Kevin O'Connell, we always see the Kevin O'Connell pregame speeches where he wins. We never see them when he loses.
Correct, but we got to see that on Netflix.
Exactly. They should just air one KOC.
Can you imagine if we ever saw a Zimmer one? Oh my God, it'd be X-rated.
The O'Connell lost one. I would just be curious. So do you give out game balls for a lot?
Right.
Well, now that's done, here's he just throws them in a barrel and burns them.
We take them.
I was going to give you these if you had won, but now they're gone.
I think he did mention that he gave out game balls after the first preseason game.
Wow.
Because they never won a preseason game since he arrived, and he's people didn't know I gave game balls out for preseason too. And I'm really? How many game balls do you have?
Everybody on that team has a game ball, and
even the owners.
It's it's like when you get a baseball card, you get a Shohei Ohtani card, but there's 5,000 of them, so it's really not worth that much. But you're oh, Shohei Ohtani, this is great. Yeah,
it's like getting voted to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah. Did you mention your social media handle?
You can follow me, Adam Patrick NFL, on X and on Threads. I'm over 2,000 on Threads now, so we are hopping.
Congrats.
We are getting there. I'm working on doing a lot of stuff over there, and it looks like a lot more people are converging over there for right before football season. So it'll be interesting to see how things go on that side of the internet.
Yeah, I mean, you've been on this for a year and a half now.
Yeah,
Twitter wasn't built in a day.
I just checked my. They have insights now or whatever on Threads, and I had over 4 million views in the last month. So people are looking. There's a lot of people over there.
Maybe I'll have to
whether they're interacting with you or not. But
I do have a Threads account. I don't know. It's one more thing I have to look, and I think I just have to retrain my brain. Don't go on Twitter, go on Threads. Sorry, X, but whatever it's called. Everybody call it's like Miller Park.
Elon calls it Twitter still. So
yes. Follow me at the real Chris Schad though. X, Instagram, Twitter. I think I'm going to be starting a register sports account at the Brookings Register soon. So most of my SDSU stuff is going to be over there. Cool. So make sure you check me out there. Otherwise, that's all the time we have for the Viking Age podcast today. We do this every Monday with a late week episode right here on the Viking Age YouTube channel. And we are also in podcast form on Apple and Spotify the very next day. But however you consume us, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe so you never miss a new episode. We can spread the word to the masses. For Adam Patrick, I am Chris Schad. This has been the Viking Age podcast.